now? Okay. So again, thank you very much for joining us today on our first SUSTA GBM in a spring semester of 2023. And the main purpose of our today's meeting gathering is to discuss how you kickstart the spring semester on your campuses. What are the plans of events related to Ukrainian student associations, and I guess discussion of the biggest perspective event that needs some preparation is how we all thinking about reminding our communities about the year of the full-scale invasion of Russian Federation in Ukraine. So before we continue, before we actually jump into the discussion, just wanted to share a couple of facts from our previous semester. And last semester, it was pretty active semester where we're setting up our processes. We started having regular meetings. As I mentioned, we just recovered the community as is in last spring. So fall semester was kind of like a good time for us to see what is the best way of communication. And we also are trying to actively involve in some other external opportunities. So last semester, we invited multiple speakers. We had speaker from SUSC, from Nova Ukraine in our meetings, who were sharing some information about their activities and how our members can engage with their initiatives. We also had an interesting partnership with the Be Real app that allowed us to collect some funds for establishing our website. Essentially, we were buying a domain name, which is sustaportal.org. And like those funds, thanks to your participation, we were able to cover the cost of functioning. And also we were thinking of and were able to establish connection with the larger organizations in the United States of like Ukrainian community. One of the major ones is UCCA, UKKA. And we are now actively communicating with them for establishing more tight connections, prospectively using some of the advantages, such as their legal status of nonprofit in our activity when needed, and some like other expertise that they can share, especially in a legal like finance side. And essentially the goal of all this is to link us as a community of students in the US to a broader community of Ukrainians in the US, and so that our voice is also included in the discussion on a larger scale. And we continue to hold this activity. Today in our meeting, there are two other members of the e-board for this tenure. We have a 1-year tenure board. This is Purnima here, who is the chief. Purnima, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm the outreach chair of SUSTA. I'm also the financial officer of the Stanford Ukrainian Students Association. I have been part of SUSTA since, I guess, maybe May or June last year. And I kind of work on trying to get speakers for the meetings, and currently working on a few documents to help new Ukrainians across the United States make new Ukrainian student organizations. And if you guys have any ideas for outreach for SUSTA in general, please let me know. Great meeting you all.
Thanks, Purnima. We also have Sasha here, who is our executive director. Sasha, if you're able to speak, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Thank you, Maria. Yes, I am exec director at SUSTA. I'm currently not affiliated with any US college. I study in Ukraine, in KNU. At SUSTA, I do all kinds of stuff from website to partnerships to any ideas. And I was also one of the key people who was in charge of Burial campaign. Yes.
Thanks, Sasha. I also wanted to mention that Sasha is joining us from Ukraine, so it's even later in his time zone. And yeah,
It's
despite
actually
all
early in his time zone. It's very early.
oh,
3 in the
yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's 11 p.m.
he's further into the night.
Oh shit! Hold on, it's backwards. Never mind. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
Missed count in wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much for introduction. In the end of this meeting, we will also be able to have more informal chat, but I would like to jump straight into the discussion about what you are planning in your communities to do around the February 24th timeline, with a particular topic of commemorating the 1-year anniversary of full-scale invasion and the 8-year anniversary since the Russian invasion in Ukraine. So does anyone want to start the discussion?
I can go over it really quick if no one minds.
Yeah, sure. Bogdan, if you if you're speaking, we all will be speaking, please introduce yourself first
Okay.
before you. Yeah, thanks.
Hey guys, my name is Bogdan. I go by Dan. I'm part of Ukrainian Student Association here at Stanford. Also involved with SUSTA, just like to connect with all the great people from different universities. So we had our preliminary meeting last week with our USAS, our Ukrainian Student Association at Stanford. And currently we have 3 events planned for the 24th. One of them, we will be hosting a discussion panel with our Nobel Peace Prize winner of last year from Ukraine, Anastasia. I'm sorry for getting her name. I know the video is recording. It's going to be for the record, but I forgot her name. So she will be there, and we will have a few other speakers. I think the person who's leading the this panel would be Michael McFall, our supporter on campus. We met with McFall, I think, at least last Thursday, to kind of talk a little bit about that and the situation in Ukraine. After that, we are planning to have a rally on campus. There are still details. Alexander Matvichu, thank you. We're planning to have a rally on campus, more for a broader Stanford community. We have yet to figure out in what format, but we want something outside, because the panel and discussion would be somewhere indoor, and it would be facilitated by by Stanford pretty much. So we're just supporting with organizing. And then later in the evening on the 24th, we will be screening a movie, Freedom on Fire, and then I think we have agreement with the producer to join us via Zoom for a Q&A session. So that's what we have planned, just on campus. And then on the 25th, there would be a major rally in San Francisco. So we are co-sponsors of that event, but it's more for broader community. But on campus, again, we're going to have a panel, we're going to have a rally, and then we're going to have a screening. So that's, I don't know if you have any questions or need us to clarify something.
Sorry, what film is it again, Dan?
Freedom on Fire.
Okay, cool.
If I'm not
Is it-
mistaken, it's on Netflix,
Oh,
isn't
sorry.
it?
I think it's Winter on Fire, is it not?
No. There's a new documentary. I'll show you. In a
Oh,
second.
the new
I'll
one,
send you a
okay.
link.
Mhm.
Freedom on Fire. It's 2022.
Oh,
It's a new movie. It's a documentary. It's very powerful, and I think we had it screened somewhere here in the Bay Area once already. It's more updated. So the Winter on Fire was about a revolution of dignity from 2013-14. So now there is a Freedom on Fire, and the full title is Freedom on Fire: Ukraine's Fight for Freedom. Okay, that's very clever. But anyway, so it's a great movie. I can let me share the link here so you guys can. So that's what we're going to be screening. And we're going to have a producer joining us for Q&A. At least, I think that's what confirmed by now. Okay.
So Dan, I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned that you will have Alexandra Matvichuk as a speaker. Will it be solely in-person event exclusively, or you plan for a hybrid format as well?
So because FSI is organizing it, we are asking them to, like, there would be like a video segment of it, like a Zoom or something. So I don't know all the details. We will learn at the closer we'll get. It's not just her, there will be like 4 other speakers. So I think there are a total 5 Ukrainians who will be presenting there. But I do believe there would be either at least video recording, so like YouTube release later, or there would be like a live Zoom as well, but it will have to be yet confirmed.
Okay, great. The reason why I'm asking that, just in case you learn about the opportunity of, you know, kind of like external members joining the Zoom link, would you be able to share that in the SUSTA chat?
Yeah, for sure. Even in case we'll have like a Zoom link, typically we have a lot of our community members that are not Stanford affiliated that like to join. So we share it, like if we would have it, we will definitely share it.
Great, thank you. Ivan, hi.
Hi guys, yeah, I can go next. My name is Ivan. In English, I'm John. Technically, that's my name, but in Ukrainian, everyone calls me Ivan. I'm a sophomore at Boston College and the treasurer at Slavic Club here. Unfortunately, we don't have a Ukrainian club. My friends and I, we've been, kid you not, for the last 3 semesters, been trying to push OSI, the Office of Student Involvement here at BC, but there's so much, bureaucracy and red tape. It's impossible to get a student organization. But no, we're working with what we've got. So Slavic Club this semester, some of our plans and ideas are to do, and I'm pretty sure one of the Tufts people brought this up in the chat, like the suggested donation box for like cookie sales or something. And the e-board and myself, we were talking about maybe doing something along the lines of like a pierogi vendor on campus, in the middle of the week, and having like the donation box as well. So people, going to the library to study or going, in and out to their dorms could like, grab a bite to eat and then have that like minimum suggested donation of like $3-5, something like that. And we were thinking to do that maybe on like a consistent basis throughout the semester, either bi-weekly or a couple times a month. But if that doesn't work out, we would just try to do a big one on the anniversary on that Friday, the 24th of February. And the other idea with that is, one of my other friends brought this up, is to maybe try and somehow rent like a bicycle or somehow get it from like our gym, like one of the cycling machines, and just throughout the whole day, just like sort of cycle for Ukraine. People like do the Run for Ukraine organizations. And next to that, the person cycling somewhere in some public area on campus, we'd have the pierogi vendor stand or the donation box or like, selling merchandise or a combination of everything. And we were even shooting around ideas of, maybe switching out, having all the members on the board sort of common, like, tapping each other out to try and go on for the whole day. But yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. Our club just got like approved to start using funds this semester, so we just started talking. But yeah, so the pierogi vendor donation box and the Cycle for Ukraine thing, it's what we have planned so far.
Sounds amazing. I really like the idea of cycling for Ukraine. And actually, I was wondering, so Boston College, to my best knowledge, it's not in Boston, it's like outside, right? In this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the joke. We're not in technically.
Yeah.
Boston.
So the reason why I'm asking, because usually in like a smaller college towns, it's easier to find access or contact to local media, such as, newspapers, where like local people usually might check like what's happening in town.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
do you have a prior experience, or were you thinking of like reaching out and like notifying people, maybe someone else like cycling community may join your effort?
I'm actually really happy you brought that up because last year my friends and I did a rally for Ukraine on DC, and we had this one person who was Ukrainian who graduated from DC. He helped me out with like getting some of the guest speakers. He told me to call some of the local news stations, and the day of, like literally an hour before, he's like, "Oh, why aren't they here? Give them a call." And I wasn't expecting anything to happen, but sure enough, I called like 2 or 3, and one of the local Boston news stations came. So I don't know if that's exactly what you meant, but yeah, I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I
Mhm.
think that's very
I'm gonna write that
beneficial,
down.
like,
Mhm.
from multiple perspectives. Like you raise awareness about activity and establish kind of like your presence there, and people will start reaching out. That's what happened back in Florida, where I graduated from. Yeah, that's essentially what happened. Like local media was all over this kind of like our effort, and then people started reaching out. Sometimes too many people were trying to reach out for commentary on anything, but anyhow, that's like publicity in this case is good. Yeah, great. Well, I really like the idea. Does
Yeah,
anyone else
I like that
like
idea as well. I'll wrote that down. I'm gonna talk to them about trying to get that to happen. Thanks.
I'll just like piggyback a little bit. So I believe that like at Stanford, like when you were running, weren't you engaging with some running clubs as well, like Run for Kids?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Gautam.
Purnima, I'm sorry. Okay, so I don't remember how that came to be, but as we were organizing this Run for Children of Ukraine, we tried to partner with some other running organizations. So one of our organizer, Kate, she had an internship throughout summer in New York. So she connected with like New York Running Club. Just overall, like these running clubs, like US, they have different like parts like in different cities. So we connected with them and they help us with it, but donation we're going towards to a state of Washington, some Ukrainian organization. So it was like a collaboration of several different things. We also tried to reach out to some local running clubs and Stanford, like athletic club. And we also tried to engage with some like big figures in sports and Paralympics and stuff like that. So it was a very collaborative thing. And plus we originally planned it for like a couple of weeks, like a specific day, like we had like a month and then would end on a specific day, and then we stretch it for like 2 more months, so like throughout the summer, just cause. So it was very great learning experience, but I think we kind of figure out how to do it better. I know that school at Berkeley, Ukrainian Association at Berkeley, they did somehow they partnered with Berkeley Marathon, and they had like their table, and there were like some proceeds from the marathon were going towards to something that they were working on in Ukraine. I think it was like rebuilding of schools. So we can check with them how they did that part. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I see that Purnima here also added the comment that essentially reaching out increases your chances of people participating. Okay, so let's move on. Mikhailo,
Yes.
can you please give us a short reintroduction of yourself and also like talk about what's happening in your community?
All right. All right. So my name is Mikhailo. Also, in English, people call me Mason. I'm originally from Kramatorsk, and well, everyone knows that is. Anyway, so I actually am no longer a member of the e-board of mine because I just graduated from Michigan State University, but I will tell you guys what I know because I'm still included for some reason on their e-board things. So I have information. So yes, so okay, this is the notes for literally last meeting. Also, yeah. So on the 13th, there was things mentioned about general fundraising. We still don't actually have a bank account set up, so we're still trying to set up a bank account for MSU Comp. Networking, of course, we're reaching out to as many organizations as possible. At least that's what I get the impression from these days. And of course, activism. Activism, especially because last semester we start reaching out to a group of Iranians. So we have been working with them. And from what I see from the meeting on the 13th that they have reached out to a guy named Alexander Krapivkin, who is helped them organize. I don't, and there is a question mark about 24 February big event plan, but that's about it. I'm sorry if I do not have this information anymore. I'm, as I've said, I've just been cut out of the loop.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thank you very much for speaking up and sharing. And by the way, congrats on graduation. Did you graduate like December?
Yes.
Congrats. So you're thinking of having a grad degree or just go?
Yes, I'll be returning to Germany to go for my grad degree.
Oh, to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So, Thomas?
Yeah, guys, with regard to the Oxford plans, not everything is confirmed, but we are definitely going to be doing a rally on the 24th. We'll invite as many people as possible. I reach out to my network. Hopefully, thousands of Oxford students will be able to support us at this iconic place that you might have seen that is called the Radcliffe Camera, like this very round building where the big library is. This is the place where all the protests are going on. So there'll be a couple of speakers, someone from the society, probably also the vice chancellor of the university, and a few other speakers, representatives of the Ukrainian community. And the idea would be also to involve as much media as possible. So we have some people who are journalists, so they might reach out to BBC, the Telegraph, the Guardian, and all the newspapers you can think about to make it sound. One thing, this will be one. And I think we'll also provide opportunity for donations as well. And we'll let people know what the society has been doing so far to support the Ukrainian community. We're also planning to organize a charity dinner. This would be at one of the colleges in Oxford with the opportunity again for donations and also running a live auction as well. We'll have some gifts and souvenirs bring to us from Ukraine. And maybe some pieces of art as well, and be able to sell those to support some of the charities and organizations that will be involved with, and there'll be a few speeches as well. I can look at, I'm not involved in organization of all the events, but I can see in our calendar that a day before 24th, it says that we're going to have an online lecture. So in Ukrainian, it says «Особливості політичного режиму РФ та війни проти України». Лекція від Івана Гомзе. Maybe some of you know this person from the Kyiv School of Economics. He's the head of Department of Public Governance there. So things like that. I wanted also to organize some other dinners and a few other things, but they're not confirmed yet. So I won't give any false hopes. But if we can manage to do that, it will be really, really good, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of activity going on and a lot of plans. Well, so I have actually a couple of questions. You first mentioned that some speakers have been attending, like have been given speeches, and like you're planning to invite in some other speakers. So what speakers do you usually reach out to? Or like, what are their topics or what they do, these people?
That's a very good question. So we really want, so this would be a very special event, and we want, since we're Oxford University students, we want Oxford University to be represented. We recently had a new vice chancellor, who is like the most important person at the university, and we are reaching out to her. Most likely, I think she agreed on speaking about the war, speaking about the situation, and showing the position of Oxford to the world. So this would be important. There could be some representatives from the local community. For example, I mentioned we have over 2,000 Ukrainians here. Maybe potentially we could have some personal stories shared about the war. And some representatives from the student community would be good as well. Not too sure about the professors. I think we have one or two, but there isn't such a position as the Ukrainian studies professor here. It will be open soon, though. Yeah, so people like that, Maria.
Thanks. So I understand that the involvement of school officials is also quite kind of like present. They're participating. So what I mean essentially that you reach out to school officials to express their position, like their view on the situation, even though that they are not like experts in like any Ukrainian matter. They're not like Timothy Snyder, who studies that part of the world.
By the way, with regard to Timothy Schneider, if you have any warm leads, we will be very happy to have him at least on Zoom with us. No, we don't have Timothy Schneider in Oxford. So we have the Center of Eastern European Studies, and I am a bit iffy slightly with inviting them. Since the Vice Chancellor is the most important person at the university, her view would be representative of Oxford. So that's why I really want her to speak. Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned someone, you having someone from Kyiv School of Economics?
Yes, Ivan Homza.
Ivan Homza, I can be wrong, but I do believe that either him or someone else like at Kyiv School of Economics, they personally know Timothy Snyder. So you can just through them make that connection. Or like I know Roman Sheremetov, but he's like, I think he's in US. So he's personally in contact with Timothy Snyder. We thought about inviting him to Stanford, but then the feedback we got was that we're trying to bring Ukrainian speakers. I actually just pulled the list of whom we're going to have. Going to be Alexandra Matvichuk, Sansha Ustinova, Alexei Goncharuk, previous prior prime minister, and Serhiy Lashchenko. I don't know if you probably heard of him. But through Kyiv School of Economics, I think you should be able to get in touch with Timothy Snyder. Although, don't quote me on this one, but I do believe he's planning to be in Kyiv for the anniversary.
Sure.
Just through those people, you might be able to connect.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. I think this is not for the 24th. This is just would be, I think, in general, really cool to have him here. We have, you might know, this very interesting space for debates. It's called Oxford Union, that invites lots of different speakers, and I think he would be really good for this. Yeah, but thank you so much. I'll definitely reach out to the people.
And you also mentioned that you are planning on some dinner events. So
yes.
I was wondering, how much of a support do you get from school? Or is it like all purely like student-based, student financed?
Yeah. Actually, we have a lot of support. So how the Oxford system works is you have those multiple colleges on sites, like, I don't know, Harry Potter houses, whatever you call them. And in each college, they have their own hall, which is the dining hall. And basically, we just need to reach out and find the availability of those halls on that day. They have chefs as well. And we just asked them, how about you make some Ukrainian menu? And they were like, cool, we can do it. And then this would be only a question how there is a very centralized system where you can book venues. The staff is supportive, and we have some good connections who can help us with this organization, because those things happen very often here in Oxford, those charity dinners. So it's not and the people have already, before I joined actually last year, they've already done it. So it will be a bit easier, but a lot of support, luckily for us.
So I guess like what I'll be asking like more specifically, do you pay for their services or they provide them like they donate those services for fundraiser?
So the previous charity dinner that they had, I think a month in war, it was for free. They allowed to use their venue and they donated as well a large sum of money. I think this time it won't be. This time we would have to raise the ticket price. So formals happen here very often, but we have to make it a little bit more expensive to take into account the venue hire and also get the donations as well, and or the difference in a ticket price that you would normally have. This one, this time it won't be free, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I have more questions. I'm sorry that I ask it like so precisely. I think that we're all here learning. We're like not meant to be like event organizer, but somehow became. But like, I'll ask one more question. So you essentially make these events ticketed. You sell the tickets and pre-sell the tickets, and then you use those funds. Okay, I see.
That's right. That's exactly what we're gonna do.
Okay, wonderful. And then you are like doing fundraising, and I wonder like what's your major outlets where you are how you're like donating this money? Is there any particular organization that you work with, or how does it happen inside your like student club?
So I'm not involved directly with charities, but I think United 24 was a big one, and we also have a lot of help from the Embassy of Ukraine in the UK. One of the charities that we organized, I think the hashtag was Empower Ukraine, and then I think it was with United 24 where all the money that we collected in Oxford was sent to them, and they had a very good deal to buy a lot of power generators with some companies. So it was sent to them. We have an opportunity to donate it wherever we want, and then we as a committee decide where we want this money to go to. Usually we try to diversify and split it to other charities. And unfortunately, I don't remember the names. So we have discussed it recently. Maybe I can share the details later. Yeah, that's one of those. But what we found out is when we ask for big donations, and people do give, and the university gives a lot. However, they're always a bit iffy for donating on the SO and things that are directly involved in a military conflict. And of course, I don't appreciate those things, because if you just keep influxing the money into humanitarian aid, it will be just a constant equilibrium. But it's a conversation. We have also a very trivial thing, but the contents sometimes we organize, we bring those donation buckets. Those are literally Oxford University Ukrainian Society buckets that you can put money into, and people usually say where they go. And a recent innovation that we got is the contactless payment method. So people can actually tap their card and they give so much more than they put in the bucket. So the buckets cost $5. The contactless thing was like $30, and I would really recommend any charity events that you're doing using those methods to collect money as well.
Wait, Thomas, can you actually speak a little bit more on those buckets? I'm kind of interested.
I mean, there's nothing special about the buckets. You just have a bucket, and then there's like a little hole inside the bucket, and people put money in there.
Do you have any regulations from the university? Because I know at Stanford, like for us to, it's a form of donation. So for us, any donation we accept, we have to like, I think give Stanford like 8% or something. So some crazy number. Like
wow.
But we have to register. Like we cannot just have it like that.
Yeah. Gosh, I think I should be more involved into all this legal stuff. Essentially, some of the events we were involved in were external events, and then depending on who we collaborate with, we just have to ask the people who are hosting the event, or if we are hosting. We never actually give any percent to the university, But as soon as we got over £50,000, we started having some issues, because after 50K, you have to declare those things. And unfortunately, I wasn't involved too much into this process. Maybe I'll bring my friend who is the president of the society, and he can tell you more about the struggles. But still, there was no fee or anything else. It was a conversation between the event organizers, and it was fine. Yeah.
Adding on top of the donation buckets, so in the US, there is this like popular app, Venmo, for peer-to-peer payments. And I know that a lot of student-run like clubs initiatives, they post a QR code, and it's as easy as like scanning and just like sending money, like Venmo money. Yeah.
It's also like I'm quite like those strategies behind collecting money and as much as you can. And we also did QR codes. This was when I was studying at Bristol. I found them not super effective. So usually, you know, when you have this bucket in front of you or the contactless payment method, and you look into the eyes, and they give. At least British people, they give, because they're very kind. Yeah, I found the buckets and so we use Square. It's called Square, the company. I think it's pretty popular. I wasn't very innovative. I just had my phone, and there you put like 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. Sometimes they press it. Gosh, I get so happy. We also try to maintain a good relationship with the donors. So during Christmas, we ordered 100 postcards from the Ukrainian Society, and all the members signed them and send them to our big donors. So it's also very important to keep in touch with those people, because they keep giving, and this is great.
You're raising here a very interesting point. How do you get that contact with donor? Do you collect their data, and how?
We have a Ukrainian Oxford University Ukrainian Society website. Currently, it's under we are doing 2.0. So don't please Google us because it's a bit shit. But we are launching that in the next week. Okay, I know what you're doing now. Anyways, and we have a mail list there as well. And sometimes just people give us their details. They say they want to be involved. They come after the events, and yeah, maybe with GDPR we have to think a bit more about it. And again, unfortunately, I'm not involved into those things, but people just usually give their information to us if they want to be contacted. Sometimes they are very old people here in Oxford, and I remember once when we organized the festival, there was this woman called Nina. I forgot her name. I think she was Polish/Ukrainian, but she only spoke English, and she was like 80 or 85. I don't know. She was very, very old, but she was so kind to our society. She donated thousands of pounds. So I literally came to her house, brought a wheelchair to her because she couldn't really walk too well, and brought her to one of our concerts that we were doing. So things like that they really appreciate. Yeah. Gosh, I don't think it was too related to your question, but it's a fun story.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the best service that you can give to your donors is appreciated.
Yep.
Highly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure,
I mean,
sure.
that's a great point. Like if you in your community have a major donor who like donates, I'd say like even like starting $100 or like $50, it's up to you to decide like what is the major donor. But maintaining the contact with those may benefit in the future. Essentially,
100%, 100%, Maria. And something we were trying to do, it's not super successful at the moment. Maybe you guys can do it better than us. We have our Patreon page as well. So starting initiatives like Patreon could go a long way, I would say.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for sharing this.
No worries. Thank you so much, Maria. Unfortunately, I have to run. It was super nice meeting all. One final thing that I wanted to say, if you guys want, and this is something I really want to do, we can organize like an online meetup, Oxford, US, at some point. I think Sunday is a good day for you and for us. And if you want to meet some of those brilliant scholars, and they would love to meet you. I would love to meet more of you and speak. We can chat. And I think the best person, from what I gathered, would be Purnima to chat about, or some others. But please text me, and maybe we can sort that for next week or the week after next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Thomas.
much.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, just a couple of like more words to finish up this conversation. So in general, these are just like our thoughts, like what I've been thinking to like add to this discussion is, if you're planning or not planning any event as of now, you have an uncertainty about what's going to happen, like you don't have a manpower, which is completely understandable. Ukrainian government is doing like a great effort by developing a very strong information and media campaign. So I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of accounts, pages, news outlets, which will be delivering those messages that need to be communicated in your local community as well. So just even simply starting, I guess, with your own page on any like social media profile, or if you have a blog or in a private conversation, would be a good starting point. Like if you to start talking, reminding people about this ongoing invasion and ongoing war, and also use those messages. There are extremely, from what I've experienced by listening to them, by analyzing them, they are very well posed and very well formulated. And they are really powerful in a sense that, interestingly, like they are also targeted for like non-Ukrainian audience. So they try to explain to the world why they need to care about Ukraine and Ukrainians. And I think this message currently like sounds more loudly right now, that it's essentially standing for the principles of humanity. We want like humanity to win rather than tyranny. And like just yesterday, I was listening to this, I believe it was like a Congress hearing regarding like the future plans of like sending Abramses and whatever other equipment, another package of military support to Ukraine. And like this is a very vocal message in the US Senate, and like in the from other high officials from like EU and individual nations in the world community. So just this is a good starting point essentially to follow the Ukrainian official media. We've been also in contact with UKK. I mentioned this before, and it's like a Ukrainian Congress Українців в Америці. They are also in contact with the Ukrainian World Congress, which is essentially like a global organization of all these chapters of Ukrainian organizations. So the lady, like representative of UKK that we've contacted, she is also a representative to Ukrainian World Congress. They were supposed to have a meeting this weekend, so we haven't heard anything from them yet about their campaign, but from our communication, they mentioned that they are also like will be designing some media campaign, essentially like using a hashtag, whatever. So if you're like creating a post on your personal page or like on your club page, when we find out about those tags, we will update our community on Telegram and Discord, so that just like to support, media visibility. And on that note, actually, if you followed recently the Instagram, right, like Meta, essentially, they lifted this status of the terrorist organization from the Azov regiment. So essentially, like there is some advocacy in the social media as well, and maybe like those hashtags will help to spread information wider. I remember Mason mentioned, thanks, Purnima. Happy to see you here. See you next week. So Mason mentioned also that you've been in contact with Klitsch. Isn't that right?
Ну, да,
No, sorry.
за Александром или
Alexander.
кем-то таким.
Oh, yeah, Alexander Krapivkin.
Да, ну так и есть.
First of
Yeah,
all, I think it's 9 years from the war. It's 2014, we're in 2023. It's a 9-year.
I counted today. Like, really, is it 9? Because
Да.
it's like past February, it will be 9th year, but on the February it will be like full 8 years. No?
It is best to count it as 9. Simply.
Okay, so major edit will be made here. Sorry for the typo.
Нема проблем.
Yeah, so essentially there are like local organizations. Klitsch is one of them. This is they create some movements, some rallies in major cities. Like some other organizations such as Razum, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do something else. And it depends on like where you are located. Feel free like to learn from those major ones, from those major organizations, what they are doing. But if it's something happening very far away from you, maybe there are some like local communities of Ukrainian people who are doing something. So collaborative effort, it will always like support this. Again, the major point here is just like to be a constant reminder about the cause of like why we're doing this all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally agree on everything. Thank you everyone for sharing all your plans and all the activities in your community. I have one. I know that we're running out of time, but just one thing I wanted to mention. Or should I send it to Maria? There is this YouTube channel, and this guy Paul Bravatus, and he goes by Barbs, and he runs YouTube channel Geography Now. So what they do, they go list of countries. I don't know if you heard of it. So he is finally getting to do the episode on Ukraine. He has a lot of followers, like millions of followers, pretty popular. And so typically how he organizes his videos, he's looking for some information about the country. He's Googling, obviously trying to reach out to some Ukrainians. But he also already did the episode on Russia, and there he said that, hey, there was Crimea, it was occupied in 2014. Now it's like here, like it's kind of like part of Russia. So he did Crimea as a part of Russia, which is like pissed the F out of me because I follow him for years. I think he's my first subscription on YouTube. But anyway, in every video since, he's been saying that, Crimea had been occupied, there was a war and stuff. But in this preparation, it takes him typically like a couple of weeks, almost like a month. He relies on the comments on his social media, like on Instagram, Twitter, and other thing, or like his YouTube. And he also invites guest speakers that typically are from the country that on like which he makes the episode. So I posted on his everyone his account like a suggestion, hey, like reach out to Ukrainian, like Ukrainer, or like for footage, or like Timothy Snyder for like just watch his lectures about the history. But I think it would be better if we can somehow do like a targeted push to address this guy, like because it could be a good thing for him to like bring awareness. Plus, it's probably going to be released around the year of full-scale invasion, so we don't want him to like do some shit stuff. But I think we have enough people connected that we can kind of like target at him, like, hey, dude, like make it right and like correct your stupid episode about Russia. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, Bogdan, I like that idea. So you're just essentially mass effort, social media, comments, everything. Get it right.
Shakal Express on him. Yeah. Like,
yes. Yeah,
just like throughout your friends. It doesn't have to be like centralized, but just if you guys can share like with a couple of your friends, like, and again, for him, I would suggest like Timothy Snyder lectures, Ukrainer for all the footage, because right now the country is under war. So I don't think he'll get much better stuff. And then if any like Ukrainian YouTube channels that you know, or I don't know if any of you are familiar with this lady, Nina Ukraina or something. I know that she's like YouTuber somewhere in the United States. I just don't know where she is. Maybe like we can reach out to her if you have like any personal connection, or maybe like some guests that you think could like film episodes with him that are in US. I think he's located in LA. Just something to consider. That's all. I'm sorry for taking so much time.
No, I mean, that's a very good point. Just a quick clarification here. So what he's doing, he's making some incorrect statements.
No. So what he did several years ago, he started doing an episodes on each country, and out of like 194 or something. And he talks about their history, their culture, language, like cuisine, and all kind of stuff. Just like sort of like in a neutral, positive way to tell the rest of the world, hey, there's this small little country, learn about them. Like here's their music, here's their tradition. So when it came time to do a Russian episode, he did include Crimea into Russian episode. I would suggest you just watch it.
Okay.
And then he did mention, hey, Crimea was occupied by Russia in 2014, blah, 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 but he did include, so that would piss me off. So I kind of blocked him for a while. But then other his episodes are he's trying to be as neutral as possible. But this neutrality with Ukraine is not something I can take. But I think we should influence him, because when it comes to Ukrainian episode, and if it will come around like an anniversary of like full-scale invasion and the war, it could be a good driver of publicity, because he has a very international audience. Since Ukraine is like, I think it's like 170 something on the list. He's like down the list already. So I would suggest we just take it like as a small priority. Anyway, do you want to hold anyone back?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to a final point to your like, other channels or sources of information. I don't know if you guys have heard of Brate Karakate or something. Yeah, my parents watch him. He's like, apparently he's explains a lot of good history in Ukraine and stuff. So in Ukrainian videos, but still.
But we need someone like probably younger and in English speaking. So that's why I was thinking about Ukrainer and like something else. But anyway, that's all I have.
Історія без міфів, ось as well, good.
So, to finish up this meeting, I wanted to just remind how we are going to meet this semester. So we've decided with the e-board, we were talking about this, and based on our prior experience as well, and the busyness of usually the community with the events this semester, we were thinking of having a monthly meeting where we would mostly invite an external speaker to come to the meeting and talk about a particular topic or like their activity. So this will be like external speaker coming to our events, and those meetings will usually be happening Sundays, 4 to 5 p.m. EST. So the same time that we are meeting today, every last Sunday of the month. This information is posted, by the way, in a Discord, like our channel. So please join the Discord. I will share the presentation after the meeting, and you will be able to click just on the link and find it. The next meeting will be February 26th. Beside the speaker series, we were also thinking about having a community chat. So essentially it will be like something similar to what we did today, where everyone will be given a chance to speak, to discuss openly, and it will be more of an open town hall for everyone to share what's going on, to address any concerns. So yeah, this is about the plans for how we're going to operate this semester. We're always available through Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Telegram. Please share the information about our channels of communication in your communities with your friends also. And we follow majority of Ukrainian student associations on Instagram. We see what you're doing. We really appreciate you holding the meetings and like making those events happen and continue supporting the cause. So I highly appreciate you being here today, and hope to see you in the next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
guys.